to. Well, as Nigeria continues to battle with increasing economic challenges, experts and stakeholders in the country's business sector have urged for a review of old policies and proper implementation of newly introduced ones. Major investments in the economy, especially SMEs, are set to help build an eventual successful ecosystem.
One of the important aspects that need to be reviewed during policymaking is corruption in governance. Former Minister of Education and Economic Policy expert Dr. Obi Ezekwesili has called for transparency in governance. While speaking to New Central TV, she highlighted the need for proper implementation of policies, which is an antidote for corruption.
We do normally say that the underpinning pillar, or the base on which any set of actions to tackle corruption, to entrench accountability and transparency is that base of an awakening by the citizens that something is wrong. Something is wrong here. There is opaqueness. There is, so much that is unknown. There are things that are strange happening. And there is so much corruption, petty corruption, grand corruption. So the people suddenly say, we're tired. And then there comes a leader who has the moral credentials to say, all right, society, corruption is costing us so much, we have to tackle it. And then that leader becomes the exemplary director of a reorientation of society, a reset of the mind of society, where everybody is saying, we have to tackle corruption. That's the base. And then there are two pillars standing on that base: the preventive pillar and the sanctions pillar. The preventive pillar would be everything you need to do in terms of transparency of public procurement, transparency of the taxing in administration, transparency of the budget process, business processes reforms, bureaucratic reforms, reform of the Auditor General's role, the Accountant General's role. So all of those kinds of reforms will bring openness to how things are done. We normally say that transparency is an antidote to corruption. All right? So the preventive measures include things like that. It includes things like completely deregulating or liberalizing sectors where there used to be concentration of discretionary powers in the hands of one government official or the other as the leader. So when you do deregulate, you see what happened with NITEL. NITEL was a very corrupt public institution, right? But when we reformed, when we liberalized the telecom sector, what happened? Nobody cares about NITEL, right? Because many more providers introduced competition into that market. Many more providers are providing it. The competition led to more provision and more access, so that reduces corruption. Then on the sanction side, you want to make sure that when people engage in corruption, they can't get away with it. You have to have law and its enforcement. So you act on the basis of the rule of law. You have the agencies that can detect that corruption has happened, can go to the court, prosecute corruption successfully, and the judicial process would lead to a sanction, meaning that the right punishment will be given for corruption. So these two pillars, standing on a pillar of a leader who has mobilized society across public sector, civil society, private sector, all of these things have to work together to entrench a culture of transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption in a society.